Hello and welcome to episode 52 of the DX Mentor. Thank you for joining us. I'm Bill, AJ8B. If this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. We have a back catalog of over 50 episodes covering many aspects of DX in both podcast and YouTube format. Please check us out. If you're new to DXing, I would really recommend episode 1 as it was recorded with several world-class DXers. You will get a feel of the excitement that goes with chasing DX. Remember, if you like what you find, please subscribe, like, and share. Today, we will be discussing the upcoming DXPedition to Sao Tome Principe, Sierra 9 Zulu. The following is from their website. Quote, the Dateline DX Association, or Worldwide DX Organization, is pleased to announce to the amateur radio DX community the activation of Sao Tome and Principe, a small island nation off of the coast of Gabon, from November 11th through November 20th, 2024. The license issued by the General Regulatory Authority in Sao Tome and Principe authorized the call sign Sierra 9 Zulu, S9Z. The international team is comprised of all highly experienced DXers, DXPeditioners, contesters, and activators. The team will activate all HF bands 10 meters through 160 meters on sideband, CW, and digital modes using stations with amplifiers, hex beams, tall verticals, and wires. We will also operate EME on VHF 6 meters and UHF 432. Our guests today are Ralph, K0IR, Kimo, KH7U, Max, I8AHJ/N5AHJ, and Joe, W8GEX. So without any further delay, let's get started discussing this upcoming DXPedition. Well, good evening and welcome to the DX Mentor podcast. We got a full house tonight, and Joe and I couldn't be more excited. We are going to talk to the group that's going to be activating Sierra 9 Zulu for Sao Tome. These guys are great DXers. They're all experienced as can be, and I'm going to learn a lot tonight, and I know you're going to enjoy it. So I'm going to go around the room and have them tell a little bit about how they got into ham radio and DXing. And as we always do, let's start with Joe, W8GEX.
Well, hello, everybody. Most of you probably know me by now, but the ones that don't, I got started 53 years ago as a technician, was on 6 meters, had a nice opening into the Caribbean, and start working at DX and been absolutely hooked ever since. I just love DX, just like our guests that we have on here tonight. I've been with 2 of them, and these guys are great DXers. So tell us about you, Kimo.
Hi. Well, I'm Kimo, KH7U. I was first licensed in 1973. It worked really good for SS contests. Nobody misses the check of 73. I wonder why. Anyway, that was back in high school. And then I spent 2 years as a novice on CW, get up in the morning, turn on the radio, turn off the radio, go to sleep. My parents didn't appreciate that, but I had fun. Yeah. Beyond that, I kind of got off HF quite a bit because I was in the two-way radio business through several decades. But when Kingman Reef in the early 80s went out, myself and KH7R helped them get out of Honolulu. So that kind of got me back in the game, and I kind of went on from there.
Okay, great. Ralph, you're joining us tonight from the great north, the frozen tundra. Let's find out about you.
All right. Well, thank you. I grew up in the wastelands of ham radio on a farm in southern Minnesota where there were no hams around. And the only thing that got me going was finding an old radio in the attic, which I took out of its box and watched all the tubes glow. I noticed a little segment on there that said amateur. And I wondered what the heck that was. I listened there and heard absolutely nothing. But it piqued my interest. I learned that our mailman was a ham radio operator, so I would trot out to the mailbox every Saturday morning, ask Bud a couple of questions, and then he'd be on his way. The library had a copy of the Radio Amateur's Handbook, which I devoured, and got myself on the air with a Globe Chief and an SX99 receiver. Wire antennas that were low to the ground and didn't work very well. But one day I heard a call from was a YN9CIL. His name was Luke, and he was in Nicaragua. That was DX. And I never looked back after making that contact.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
And good for us, actually.
Yes.
So Max, N5NHJ, if I have that right. Tell us about yourself.
That's right. Also, I8NHJ. I started with the radio stuff almost 40 years ago. I was 16. All my friends were hanging out with girls. I was hanging out with a standard 2 meters transceiver, looking for repeaters, looking for satellites. Oscar 7 was just launched at that time. So my first license was indeed, I got my first license in Italy when I was 16. And strange enough, I didn't pass the CW. And then I think I became a great CW operator. I mean, I love CW. So I was engaged with DXing on any band, with any radio. My very first radio was a 19MK4, which is a surplus radio from Worldwide the Second. So 10 watts on 40 meters. Actually, that radio was doing 40 and 80 in almost a quarter of turn of the VFO. So it was really, really difficult to tune any station, AM and CW. And so CW, you know, to do something, the only way was trying CW. And I remember with 10 watts on 40 meters, I made a contact with Chatham Island, ZK7, and that really brought me a lot of fun, and that was probably my very first really DX contact, and then I never stopped.
So there's a big difference between me sitting in the basement and working Chatham Island and me going out and being DX. So at what point did you guys decide, yeah, this is fun, but I really want to get out there and let people work me? Max, go ahead.
Well, it was 1992, 1993. I was still at a school, university, and I was having kind of a daily contact with Monica, EL2PP in Liberia. And then one day I said, Monica, I have to ask you something. Can I come over to Liberia and operate CW? Because no one is doing CW from Liberia. And she said, oh yeah, come over. So we planned the trip. She didn't tell me anything about Liberia. There was a civil war there. The day before my flight, she said, okay, I have to tell you something. So we have a problem here. There is a situation, the war, but no problems. You will be protected. And so I flew down to Liberia, unbelievable trip. And I participated in the CQ Worldwide DX CW, achieving the second worldwide praise. Again, a lot of fun, and that was my very first experience in being on the other side of the pileup.
Okay. Ralph, what about you?
Well, it took me a while to get going. You know, I had my license, and then I was off to get an education, and the family came along. I had no coins to click together. So it took me about 30 years from the time I was licensed until I got to go on a DXPedition. And it was a real trial by fire with South Sandwich Islands. And Captain Cook called it the most awful place in the world. And I think that's correct. But we did it, we survived, and we went on from there to Peter 1 and multiple other entities, Bird Island, Amsterdam, Desiceo, Navassa, South Orkneys, quite a number of places. And I really, really enjoy doing it. It's It's not only being on the radio, but it's the team that you put together, the people you meet along the way, and the little incidental adventures that pop up unexpectedly when you're on these trips. It's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Kimo?
Well, I was first introduced to DXPedition by Frank Smith, AH0W, and he contacted me. I honestly don't remember the details now, but he wanted my help to get out to Curie Atoll. And so, although he had permission but he needed someone local to help him get out there. So I ended up on my very first DXPedition. I did all the logistics, all the shopping, all the shipping, all the cooking. What else did I do? Oh, I fed all the generators, did the dishes. It was interesting. But that was K7K, and I think we were the first DXPedition to use a 1x1, if you will,
Wow.
K7K.
Oh.
And that was a lot of fun. And in the space of 3 years, I got to do XU1A with Zorro and Frank. And then we did 3B9R Rodriguez, which had been off the air for a little while, and got Robert back on the air by leaving some things we weren't supposed to leave there. But some antenna pieces and stuff to get, we checked out his radio, and he managed to get back on the air. So that was good. So that kind of started it. Then that led right into Kingman Reef, Joe knows, and and Max. We did that around in 2000, and leading up to that, we had to court the Nature Conservancy as part of our plan to get permission to go, and so we got to know them pretty well. And so my friends and others in Honolulu ended up supporting the Nature Conservancy for a number of years. So I was fortunate to be able to go back there in 2001, 2003, 2005, and operate a bit, and work, if you will, doing some projects for them, maintaining their communications and whatnot. So that really got hot and heavy into that, and then later on met Joe, and we did Midway in 2009, I think it was.
Yes.
And so that's been the majority of it. Just a whole bunch of several beach type ones, which that's kind of why we're doing this one. No beaches. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I haven't been to near as many places as some of the other gentlemen, but they have been memorable and fun.
Wow. So there's one, and we'll talk about S9 in a minute, but I love getting together because there's so much I can learn. So I'll start with Joe. Very quickly for everybody, one place you'd never go again and one place you'd love to go again.
Well, the place I would never ever go again would be Swains.
Because
That was one tough trip. Bill, all the rest of them that I have been to, and I've been on a total of 62, but they hadn't been big trips like Ralph and Kimo and Max had been on. But all the trips I had been on, I would go back. But Swains is definitely off my bucket list.
it's too hot.
Too hot. Unbelievable.
All right. Ralph, same question. Place you'd love and place you'd never go back.
I really can't think of a place I would never go back to. I'm sorry, but
Oh, that's all right.
there's something good in everything,
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably my favorite place would be Peter One. It's a magic place. It can be, windy and cold and miserable, but I'll tell you, when the sun comes out over that white snow and a clear blue sky up above, it's a magic place.
Wow.
And I would go there again just because of the challenge of getting there. It's difficult. There are weather windows to deal with and so on. The precision of the planning that you have to do, I think that's probably where I would go if I could go anywhere else again. I'm a little too old to do it again, but
That's all right. Max?
Well, as Ralph said, there is no place where I would not go. I mean, all those experiences I had have been good and bad. So good stuff, something sometimes goes wrong, but in the end of the day, when the balance is always positive. I will not go in the same places where I've been. There are so many places around the world, so why to go twice in the same spot? But pile up wise, if I should pick up one to go back, is definitely San Felix.
Okay.
X-ray Radio Zero.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Kimo, favorite and not favorite, or are you kind of the same?
No, I can't say I wouldn't go back anywhere. Everything is just fine. I had a good time in all of them. Since I've been to Palmyra several times, I think that's probably my favorite. I got the great honor of going snorkeling in their is it the East Lagoon or West Lagoon? Can't remember now. They call it the Coral Garden, actually. And since it's been virtually untouched since World War II, and I don't think there was much scuba diving in World War II time. So I spent my first time there looking for any broken coral. I couldn't find any.
Really?
Not a piece. Not one piece. And there are so many varieties of fish there. I lost count. 3/4 of them I'd never seen before in Hawaii. So it was just an amazing place. Palmyra is a very special place.
Wow. Very, very cool. Well, I'll throw a question out, and whoever wants to answer it is fine. But why, I guess, how did we come about putting something together for S9? How did that come about?
Oh,
Go ahead,
is it
Kimo.
up to me?
Kimo, go ahead.
Everybody's looking at you.
I was a little bit of more of a latecomer, so I'm more like signing on. I talked to Tom about it, and we discussed it. And basically, since a lot of us have been to a lot of beach landings and you know all that type of places, we decided in our older age that we'd try to go someplace that's a little less hostile, a little more accessible, not so rare that we would lose sleep trying to make everyone super happy, even though we're going to give it our all, and so, and also something that didn't cost 3 arms and 4 legs. So it kind of ended up that S9 seemed to be a reasonable spot to do that, and so that's where we're going.
Okay, and where is S9? Can you describe that for our listeners?
It's an island that's used to be a Portuguese colony, and it's located off the central western coast of Africa. Is it? I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Gabon or whatever?
Yes,
However
I
you
think so.
pronounce it, but it's off the coast there.
Okay, well, I'm going to beat Joe to the punch. Are we doing 60 meters? If you say no, he's going to leave. So.
Oh my God, I'm gone.
Last time
I don't know.
You said that was
I thought I put in the question, but I'm not sure I heard an answer.
Oh.
It kind of boils down to several things. Are you allowed to operate 60 meters there, for one thing? So, it is certainly on our mind, but I honestly don't know that answer right now.
Right.
We're still working out some details.
So hang in
But
there, Joe.
thanks to Max, we signed up for we're doing EME at his behest, and now I think we're doing a European satellite that's very
Wow.
popular. So, and of course 6 meters will be on there, but
Right.
60 is certainly on our mind. But I honestly don't know the answer to that yet.
I
Perhaps
worked,
the expert here can fill us in.
He's
I worked
about to.
60 meters from this a guy that was on Voice of America, but I don't know if he had permission or not. We work them and figure that part out later. But I have worked it, so I've got it confirmed.
Okay, so the pressure's
Oh,
on.
so you don't care? Is that it?
Well, no, I didn't. I care for the other people that need it.
Oh, I
So-
got mine.
So what is the Dateline DX Association? I've heard of it and I know nothing about it.
I think
Well,
this,
I can't give you some of the earliest ones because I probably joined a few years later. Tom Harrell is one of the chief architects. I imagine Don Greenbaum, N1DG. I honestly don't know the earliest beginnings of it. That's why it would be nice to have Tom here. But those of us who've gone with Tom and others on some of their trips, we kind of get recruited into the gang. So we kind of hang on for dear life as we go to new adventures with them, and that's pretty much all that I know.
Ralph, go ahead.
Now that's about what I know too. Tom explained it to me. He said it's a loosely organized organization that has no dues, no rules, regulations, no regular meetings. The emphasis is on fellowship, having a good time, and going some places.
Wow.
Yeah, more than association, I will say that this is a group of friends really engaged that love DXing and radio.
Well, I'm looking at what you sent me, and I'll read this. I'm going to look away from the camera for a minute. Members come from all corners of the world and overall have operated not just from good DX entities, but such locations as BS7H, 3YB, 3YP, VK0H, VP80, KH1, KH4, KH5, KH5K, KH7K. I need most of these. You guys got to do this again. KH9, 9 Mike 0, 1 Alpha, HVE3, and there's several more on there. That's a really impressive list. That's a big deal. So hats off to you guys. Man, that's really cool. So tell me about the team then. And anyone can jump in. But obviously you three are going, and is there there'll be pilots, I assume? Is this going to be is there any remote operation, et cetera, et cetera?
No, to my knowledge, there won't be any remote operations. This is more of a fun trip for most of us. So it's going to be maybe 1 or 2 degrees lower temperature than your typical DXPedition.
Okay.
We, for example, you don't normally hear this on DXPeditions. We'll have 4 HF radios, of which only 3 will be scheduled. The 4th one is, if anybody has some free time or they have nothing else to do and they want to get on the air, there's a 4th radio. So right then and there, you show we're not being quite as hardcore as we could be. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of the other parts of the question you asked.
Just the team in general.
Oh, well, we do have a couple of Portuguese hams who are invaluable to us, CT1BOL and CT1EEB, and they're both helping us. We have Rigo and George, and anyway, we're hanging on to their coattails because they were instrumental in getting us the license, for example. And we're going to visit
organizing the trip,
organizing a lot of the trip, and we'll be meeting them in Porto as a pre-trip touring of Portugal. Since, for example, I've never been there, so it'll be my honor to get to see their home country. So that other than that, it's we have most people are from the stateside by and large, other than they, and but it is quite a litany of DXPeditioners and experienced people, that are going on this trip.
Yeah, it's a great lineup, and it looks like it's November 11th to the 20th. Is
correct.
What I hear. So, Ralph, do you have any expectations? I mean, and you say it's a lower key DXPedition. However, I'm sure in your mind there's like, when I get home, I'll consider this worth the energy and the time if we do this. 1,000 QSOs or 100,000 QSOs or 50 500 individual calls or something, Ralph. So do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I expect we'll end up with something like 70,000 to 90,000 Qs, something in that range, probably. As others have said, the emphasis here is a little bit more laid back, a little bit more relaxed. Have some fun, but we can transfer that fun, across the airways to the other guys. If we hear, Joe on there, we might say, "Hey, Joe, good to hear from you. Nice to have you come through. Call us on another band." We can be a little more friendly than maybe saying 5.9, QRZ.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm meeting some new people here. I'm kind of the new kid on the block in this group, so. Everything is going to be fresh, new, and exciting for me.
Wow, very cool. So, Max, what kind of modes are we looking at? I assume CW sideband and some digital, or RIDI, obviously EME.
Yeah, we will do everything. I mean, the usual modes, CW and SSB, and we cannot forget the digitals. Looks like that everyone is so involved in the digital stuff that, of course, digital cannot be left over from the DXPedition. But we are also planning something special for this expedition. Like Kimo said, we are planning to activate QO100 that unfortunately cannot be, is a geostationary satellite that unfortunately doesn't cover the United States, or just very, very northern part probably. And we will also do some 70 centimeters EME with JT65 or Q65. The EME station will be a QRP station. We will use 9700, so 70, 80 watts, a long Yagi preamplifier. So unfortunately, only the big gun will have a choice to make this content. But this is a kind of a side operation. So as usual, we will be focused on classical bands, trying to make everyone happy.
Wonderful.
Huh.
Joe, go ahead. Did you have a question?
Yeah, Ralph, tell us, for our listeners, your flight schedule. You're going to leave home, and tell us how you're going to get to this place.
Well, it's not too bad, actually. I'll fly out of Minneapolis and likely go from Minneapolis to Amsterdam, Amsterdam to Porto. And then to get from Porto to Lisbon is a little bit up in the area. Probably we will go in a rented van, possibly by train. Once we're in Lisbon, there is a flight that flies from Lisbon to, I'm going to say Sao Tome, since I've been saying it that way.
Yeah.
I believe there's a stop at Accra, Ghana along the way. And return is just the reverse of that, Sao Tome to Lisbon, probably Lisbon to Amsterdam, and then Amsterdam back to the States again. It's not difficult, it's just kind of long, you know.
Yeah.
So what will it take, 24, 36 hours to make that trip?
I think, well, I'm not speaking for Kimo, he's going to be in the air for a long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think for me to get to Porto is probably about 20 hours, something like that.
Oh, okay. How
Wow.
about you, Kimo?
Ooh, that is still yet to be determined. I think what I might do is fly up to Atlanta and help Tom pack up some last things and do some last minute trip prep, and then maybe fly with him and whomever is there, Rigo and others, through Amsterdam and on to Porto, and stay there for several days, and then of course travel by surface to Lisbon. I think we'll then spend the night there. Otherwise, we would have had to get up at dark 30 in the morning in Porto and catch an early plane to make the connection to Lisbon. So why put we're trying to have a little more fun here. So why put ourselves through all that? So we'll actually leave a day earlier and drive, if you will, to Lisbon so that we can overnight there and get up at a little more reasonable hour to go to the airport.
Okay.
So we'll move on there. We'll be meeting other team members in Lisbon who won't be going to Porto. Porto is really just for maybe a third of the group or so who want to see it and do that part. And the rest will probably meet in Lisbon, and we'll all get onto the same flight to head down to Sao Tome.
Yeah.
So
Myself,
Maxwell,
unfortunately, I have to leave early. I have to get back. The last plane out of there and their cycle is on a Sunday, and then you have to wait till Wednesday for the next one. But the Wednesday when everybody else is leaving for me is about 2 or 3 days before CQ Worldwide CW contest. So I need to be back in Hawaii already, helping set up K86J at K86YY, Alex's station on the North Shore for multi. So, and since I'm hosting it, I think probably I need to be there.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
hence I got to cut off a few days and leave early.
Yeah, there's several of us that want to make sure you're there so we can get that as a multiplier. So
Tell Alex I said hello too, Kimo.
We'll do so. Be glad to do so.
So Max, can you tell us about the various the stations or the equipment and the antenna types you're taking?
Yeah, Kimo, please help me on this because I know just part of it, right? So ICOM is our major sponsor, and we will have 4 7610 from ICOM, along with 9700 for EME.
And a
we
7300, I believe, for 6 meters.
Oh, okay. Good. And then we will have some amplifiers. One amplifier will be loaned by SPE. Is the brand new 1.5K Taurus, and we will test this new amplifier. Our DXPedition will be the first DXPedition in testing this brand new amplifier. And for this reason, my trip has not been completely scheduled yet. I should go from Dallas to Lisbon directly, but maybe I have to go to Rome, pick up the amplifier, and then go to Lisbon. And so we have also, I guess, 2 or 3 more amplifiers, Kim, all right?
Yes. We have several amplifiers in our possession, so it'll be an eclectic mix, an ACOM, an Elecraft, and I think even a Tokyo High Power. We're trying to travel a little lighter, so these are not going to be full legal limit, well, U.S. legal limit. We'll be running in the 500 to 700 watt range on most of the other stations.
Sure.
Right.
What about antennas?
And as far as antennas, well, we have 3 hex beams, which will be our primary higher band antennas. We'll have a 6 meter Yagi. Of course, the EME and satellite antennas, which Max already described.
Is a 17 elements LFA from my Nova Antennas.
There you go. And for 30 meters, we'll have a vertical wire dipole that will be on a mast. A vertical dipole, excuse me. And then for 40 meters, I'm going to kind of keep it simple. We're going to put up 2 40-meter half squares. And then our 80-160 will be a combined a vertical for 80 and 160, which will, that one, obviously, we very much may run the, the high power amplifier on.
Yeah.
We will have 1 receive loop antenna. We have one in mind, but we'll see what happens. And let me see, am I leaving it out? And then it depends on whether we do 60 meters. I guess maybe we'll have a 60-meter antenna, but that's still up in the air. Maybe someone needs to lobby that and assist with whatever needs assisting, and maybe that'll happen. But that's pretty much it. And due to difficulties in getting freight there, both in cost and logistics, we're going to actually try and carry a lot of our equipment with us. And we have a reasonably sized team. And since we are going a little bit low on the weight, on the pieces, we're hopeful that this works out for us.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what are the dates and how many days?
Well, I believe he did set it right there. It's around the, was it around the 10th or 9th to the 20th? Of course, set up, tear down, we don't know. But we'll be operating obviously for a full week plus. And we'll obviously be working it as hard as we can. We have a lot of very good operators, and we'll be on the bands. And if there's propagation, they'll hear us.
So
the flight from Lisbon to Sao Tome for the whole team is on the 7th of November.
Okay.
So probably we will be on air, let's say, maybe late the 8th, and the flight back is on the 20th of November.
So I've got a dipole or an inverted V that you could put up, but it's with the St. Paul guys now. I've shipped it to Dan in North Carolina. So when he ships it back, I'll make contact with one of you and send it to you. It's in a small little box, doesn't hardly weigh anything. So I've got a 60-meter antenna that I can get to you.
All right. Probably best to contact Tom about that. Since
Okay,
we are doing distributed logistics, we don't know exactly yet where everything is going and to
okay,
whom. So,
yeah,
but
okay.
no,
So
sure.
I'm looking at the website and I see a young man named Angus, KJ7 KOJ. And he appears to be slightly younger than the majority of the folks going. So so
We gotta have one young
He will
guy.
give us our time, I'm sure.
yeah. So is this one of his first DXPeditions? Do you know?
I actually don't know. He is new to me, and I can't really speak on it. I've got a feeling that he and his father, if I'm not mistaken, they might be going on to Jarvis shortly, but I could be wrong.
That's how maybe that's how I know
That's
the
what I
story.
was led to believe, but I stand corrected if I'm wrong.
Okay.
So we won't be the first baptism of fire. That'll probably be much worse. Maybe ours will be the recuperation phase.
Well,
You know,
it's all part of it, isn't it?
There
you know
go.
what amazes me with all the guys Joe's introduced me to, the camaraderie that you have when you come back. You know, it's like with his Midway experience or with Swain's or all the other things, and I know you guys have been through that, and it's like, and I'm at the DX dinner every year, and I get to see you hook up, and it's like you never miss a beat. And how are you doing? And you know about the wives and the kids, and I'm so envious of that. It's really, really neat. So, and this sounds like it's going to be right up that alley. A lot of fun. I mean, you don't have anybody that's going to be cracking the whip. You know, come on, Kimo, you got to get, you got to hold up your end of 3,500 QSOs. I mean, it's just going to be, I know you're going to take it seriously. It's going to be very businesslike, but it's going to be fun. And I think that's really, really cool. So, a little bit different than somebody saying, well, we're going to work 120,000 and we got 3 boats and 4 helicopters and all. That's very, very, very cool. Hats off to you. Joe, did I forget anything?
No, we went down through the list very, very good, Bill. We're good.
I'll tell you what I will do is that Tom through Kimo was kind enough to send me information on how people can contribute. And that's a very important part of it. So I will put that in the show notes. But essentially, it looks like you can do a check, or very soon the new website will be up, sierra9zulu.org, and it'll have a donate button. So we'll watch for that. Man, I'm excited. I'm really, really excited. So I'll go around one more time and just see if there's any closing thoughts. Ralph?
Well, this is going to be something new for me, because for the first time in all my DXing, my XYL is going with me on this one.
Oh,
Really?
Now, we talked about the need to carry excess baggage. That may be the mechanism, guys.
Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm excited about that. She's excited about that. And I think there may be 1 or 2 other young ladies there too. So
okay.
that's what's going to be kind of special for me.
Yes.
Very cool. That's real. That'll be something you guys will, I'm sure you've had other experiences, but this will be one you guys will never forget. So
I hope in a positive way.
yeah, no.
What about
Max?
you, Max?
Yeah.
Well, since I moved here in the US 15 years ago, I've been a little bit out from the major DXPeditions. I've been really busy over here. But this is the right time for me to go back, meet those good friends. I've spent so much time with them in the previous DXPeditions, so I'm really excited to meet all of them again.
That's really neat. Kimo?
Yeah, I'd have to chime in with Max there. It's always fun get to meet new people. Of course, I've met Ralph before, but I think this will be our first DXPedition together. Yeah, the camaraderie and the fun and the excitement of making something happen, doing a good job, and getting to catch up with old friends is really a lot of what and why we go, I think. But I'm looking forward to it. I have not been to Africa myself, so it's something new for me. And that's pretty much it. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
And you know, we have a great bunch of guys, I'm sure.
Joe, any closing thoughts?
No, I'm looking forward to it. Get on there and I'll aggravate them on every band. I'll love it.
And we'll tell you you're a dupe on 60.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, you worked this before. Go away.
Yeah, not in the long, Joe.
Get out of here.
Well, I'd like to invite you back in December. When you get back, we can do a little debrief. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Yes.
To be honest, we did the guys from T32 VU. We did them, or EU. We did them earlier before they went. And then this morning, Joe and I talked to them, and it was really neat to get that debrief. It's like, well,
Yes.
here's what we expected, and here's kind of what happened. And they had some challenges with luggage and power, and
Yeah,
and so
a lot of good stories to tell.
yes.
Yes.
And one thing that Joe and I like to do on the podcast is make people understand that, you know, when I'm sitting in my basement and I can't get you on 30 meters, and it's like, oh, that was a horrible DXPedition, and well, there's probably reasons, and everyone needs to be much more reasonable and try to put themselves in your shoes, because you're trying to get everybody in the logbook. But then the other part is there is some personal challenge here. So, for instance, on the on T32, one of the guys had brought his spouse, and she broke her arm, and they went to the local doctor, which was slightly larger than this room I'm in, and evidently the guy says, "Yep, she broke it, and we can't treat bones here, so we'll put something on it, and the next plane is in 4 days." And that's the thing, you know, people don't think about that you're going through. Now, this one, again, doesn't sound quite the same as Midway or Swains or Peter the First or something, but it's not trivial, not to be taken lightly. So I think it takes a lot of courage on your part. I hope the community has more empathy and is willing to support y'all. And man, I just think it's terrific. My hat's off to everyone, and I truly am appreciative of you guys doing this. Go ahead, Joe.
I've got one quick question that you triggered it, Bill. Does anybody know the infrastructure of the island you're going to? Is there a lot of people? Is there a hospital? Or is it really, really low key like so many places that we've all been to?
I think
No, this is kind of a big island.
Yeah,
Ralph,
it's
go
pretty big. There is some population there. I honestly don't know what it is. I would probably think, though, it's probably on the hundreds of thousands of people, so it's not trivial.
That's right.
I think that there are also some million of mosquitoes, right?
Oh, yeah, there's those. I'm taking lots of repellent, and I even have some mosquito zappers.
Yeah.
Oh, but
We'll see.
I thought
Ralph, you was going to say something?
Ralph, I think.
Pardon me?
Yeah, Ralph, you were going to say something. I thought.
I think I was just kind of chiming in with what Kimo said. There's a significant population, probably at least a couple 100,000. And we were forewarned to bring lots of repellent with as much DEET as is legally possible.
Really?
Really? Ah.
Yeah, my pusher is in the picture here, Max. So what was it, 120% DEET? Yeah, okay, good.
I always thought
I had no idea.
See, that's the problem with a solid state amplifier. If you hit an amplifier with, 4 tubes in it, they would be drawn to that and get zapped on their own. So
Yeah.
technology isn't helping you there. So, well,
Not
guys,
this
it's been a
time.
blast. I truly appreciate you taking some time. I hope to see you all at the DX dinner in May. And I really, I am going to circle back around with you in December and see if we can hook up again just to see how it was. God bless you guys. I hope you're safe, and I really hope you have a blast. I think you're going to. You got a great crew,
Yep.
and just lots of success. And if I can get you on 160s, it'll be even better for me. So but can't get a whole lot better than it is right now. So thank you so much,
Yeah. Thank you very much, guys.
and we'll be in touch.
Hope
Thank
to
you,
have you,
Joe,
everyone, in our log. Hope that you guys will have a great fun, as I'm sure we will have
Yes.
in the pileup.
Yes.
I'm already looking forward to working with these two guys.
Yes.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be there.
All
Yeah,
right.
but Joe won't be there with the beer.
No.
No. No.
We have to fix that. Let me talk to Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could at least go to Lisbon. He could hang out and wait for you.
Yeah. That's
There
right.
you
Drink some
go.
wine.
Man. All right. Well, thanks again, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
7-3.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Boy, am I excited for this Sierra 9 Zulu DXPedition. I hope you are as well. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the DX Mentor. Of course, I would like to thank our sponsors, ICOM America, the Daily DX, DX Engineering, and the Southwest Ohio DX Association. You won't find anyone more committed to DX than these sponsors. I would especially like to thank our guests, Ralph, K0IR, Kimo, K87U, Max, I8, Alpha Hotel Juliet stroke N5 Alpha Hotel Juliet, and Joe, W8GEX. And in particular, I would like to thank you for listening and watching. I'd love to have your feedback, answer your questions, and provide help with any DX or amateur radio issues that you may have. If you need clarification on something or you just have a question, email me at thedxmentor@gmail.com. Please drop me a line if you've achieved an all-time new one, received recognition, or have a DX event that you would like us to mention. We would be happy to do that. If you're enjoying these DX Mentor episodes, please hit the subscribe button. You can also click like if you found this one particularly interesting. 7-3 for this episode. Thanks to my XYL Karen for her love and support. I'll see you in the pileups.